It's a beautiful day to you, our lovely and smart real estate investors, wherever you're watching us across the world. I'm super delighted to welcome you to another inspiring, educative, and informative section of Property Matters here on YouTube. In case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, my name is Adejare, and I'm your host here on Property Matters. Property Matter is a real estate YouTube talk show where we expose you to everything that happens in the Lagos State real estate market. So, in case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, do well to subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell so that when I drop a video, a very important personality like you will obviously be the very first to see it. Thank you for the support. Thank you for all, for those who have subscribed, and thank you for those that will still subscribe. All right, so on today's episode of Property Matters, we're going to be talking about something very important. You know that every episode of Property Matters always give value. We don't always give less. We always, address those, important issues that is affecting prospective real estate investors. And of course, we give workable solutions to what can, rectify this problem. And of course, make sure that you get the value for your investment. So do well to subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification. A lot of people are still viewing our video and they are still here to subscribe. You've seen the first, you've seen the second, you have seen the third, so it is high time you subscribe. God bless you as you do so. So please just relax, get yourself a chilled bottle of wine. If you are the coffee lover, of course, get yourself a warm glass of coffee, and I'll be back immediately after this short timeout. Stay tuned.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful smart real estate investors, I'm very delighted to welcome you to Treasure Island here at Poka. And one fascinating thing about this location basically is number one, the topography, 100% dry land, and it's on the hill. When you look at houses over, I know you love that beautiful hillside property, right? The second thing is the type. So this property is 100% residential. That means it's not agri, it's not forestry, there's no any form of acquisition on it. It's 100% residential. So after buying your land, you can perfect your COO with ease. That's number two. Then number three is that it is in a buy and build location. Opposite us here is where we have the sold out Oasis bungalows. Okay, this property is just one of the best. Now, if you have been buying land banking, at this time, I think you need to change your real estate investment strategy and buy a buy and build. If you put out bungalows here for monthly basis, you can earn as high as 600,000 on a rental value, which is very, very affordable. Then if you want to do apartment, at least you can still get apartment 2-bedroom here in Poka for 5 to 600. Imagine having several units. Now, we are gradually coming to the end of this year. Now, the property is selling for 6 billion for land. All inclusive makes it 9,150,000. 9,150,000, and you don't have to even pay it at once. With 1 million naira initial deposit, you can spread the balance for 1 year without interest. Show me a real estate developer that will give this kind of offer. So this is Poka, a buy and build location. And let's say to the source, and let's say to with that kind of class. If you have property in Poka, if you have property in other places like the Temu, you are a big boy. Now, person when no get money, they go Igbonla where they kidnap, go buy property. Now, person when no go, they don't go Igbodu. If you are a big boy, if you want to get chieftaincy title in the year, come to Poka. Now Poka big boy is there. You can see houses now. So you see, that's just it. Now, one more thing. Village person no be Papa Amaka, where you think say they do you. I be Brother Pius. Village person, a person will go follow you watch this video. We go tell you make you no buy. Because you see, 1,000 people enter Lagos on a daily basis. The population is over 22 million. And when Ekpe becomes one of the hottest locations, it go pain you. Say you see this place, you no buy them. A word they say is enough for the white. Thank you, and I'll see you in my next video.
All right, you're welcome back. It's a privilege and an honor that I don't take for granted. Okay, so very quickly, we're going to be going very straight into today's topic of discussion. And on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how to resolve issues of outstanding allocation. So if you are a real estate investor and you have bought properties and you have not gotten your properties, they've made fruitless promises. And they've also went further to calm you down, and you've waited 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and you have not gotten your piece of property that you paid for. So today's episode is for you. And so I want you to make endeavor you watch this video to the end. If you find it very educative, do also share it amongst your friends. More importantly, those who will be having a similar situation and a case like this. Thank you as you do so. Now, if you have ever bought property in the Lagos State real estate market, and the process of acquisition, the process of purchase went smoothly to the point that you have been allocated to your portion of land, I want to say a very big congratulations to you, because you have actually hit a jackpot. So I want to quickly say a very big congratulations to you if you don't fall into this category. I've been speaking with a lot of real estate investors, those who are bought from other realtors, those who are bought from other companies, and I also realized that everybody seems to be in the same situation, and it's quite sad that after working if you spent time, you've worked so hard, you've toiled different jobs, and raising this money to buy the properties, then after buying it, your property has not been allocated. It's not a thing of joy, and most times it's always discouraging. So if you fall into this category, this video is for you. Now when you look at buying properties in Lagos, a lot of people have got their hand bonds, and this has also made several real estate investors to decide that they will not have anything to do as long as real estate investment is concerned. And I understand very well that this has been the case. Now when we talk about delayed allocation, it is also pertinent to to explain that as a real estate investor, you should also ensure that you are not contributing to the reason why you have not been allocated, and how can you possibly do that. And one of the things I think you need to do as a real estate investor is that you have to pay all your outstanding. You cannot be desiring allocation if you have not paid fully. That means the purchase of the property as well as the statutory fee. So if you have not done that, I'll advise you do that. And this is one of the things I think we should start with. We should come on a clean state, and of course examine that whosoever is affected by this delayed allocation is not defaulting in one way or the other. So pay up all your outstanding if you have not gotten your allocation. And in most cases, if you are very, very observant with the pattern of operation of real estate companies, you will realize that when some companies do individual allocations, which most times is instant, some companies do group allocation, which is sometimes scheduled. Some is maybe at the end of the month, some is at the quarter of every year. It depends. I've explained several times that different real estate companies operate different policies. So in cases where a developer has done series of allocation in a particular estate, and they've done the first batch, they've done the second batch, they've done the third batch. If you are not in the first batch and you do make attempt to be in the second batch, and you do not make attempt to be in the third batch, sometimes you are going to experience delayed allocation, because the real estate company may not have just that estate, they may have several estates, and they might be owing a whole lot of people allocation. So when you don't pay up all your fees, in contrary to some real estate realtors who might be telling you that just pay for the land, then you can pay for the statutory fees. In some cases where you notice that there's been a series of allocation on that particular property and you have not paid your your statutory fees, the tendency of you getting your plot of land in that same estate is very, very slim. I've explained several times that allocation in the real estate industry, more importantly in our Lagos real estate industry, is based on first come first serve. And in a situation whereby the developer has just 20 acres, and note that it's not just 20 acres they will sell, a lot of them may sell above 20 acres, so it's mostly on a first come first serve. So in some cases whereby a lot of people have sold and the entire 20 acres is gone. That's when sometimes some of them will tell you we have phase 2, we have phase 3. And the reason why I always encourage real estate investor to pay up their statutory fee on time basically is due to the fact that the title that may be in their phase 1 may not be the title. It's not even a may, it certainly will not be the same title that will be in the phase 2 and phase 3. And sometimes they've also told real estate investors that just pay. Once you pay a deposit, you have a land there. In most cases, it's a lie. Now, the reason why it's a lie is based on the fact that the land in that estate is limited. And for the fact that it's limited does not mean that some companies will not oversell. They will oversell. What they need is the cash, is the money for them to do development in that estate and acquire several estates. So in a situation whereby you have not paid your statutory fees, you're actually shooting yourself in the leg, because when the developer fails to allocate you, maybe because the place has been fully allocated and there is no land there, you will have yourself to blame. So that's on the case of when a real estate investor is defaulting by not paying all the fees on time. But what about a situation whereby a real estate developer a real estate investor has paid all his or her levies and is yet to be allocated, and it's like a tug of war? You have called the real estate company. Now, in fact, what is mostly common in this our industry is based on the fact that when a real estate developer wants you to invest in their estates, in most cases they make all the calls, they do all the follow-up, and of course they put all those motivational videos and chats just to make someone invest. Then after you have paid and you have paid totally for that property, most times you get to run after them. It's a sad situation. It's not something that is worth laughing about, but this has happened to several people. I've had instances whereby somebody will tell you, I could have so pardon me to use it, but I'm going to interpret it. Someone will say, could and when he wanted me to buy, look at this guy. When he wanted me to invest, he was the one calling me, and after I bought that property, I'm the one chasing them. In some cases, I've seen several instances like that. And honestly, some people don't find it funny, but sometimes it's the reality of what is happening in our industry. So you have paid all your fees, you are not defaulting, and the developer has not allocated you. You have spoken with the developer, you have sent all the necessary mails, you have made all the calls, and you have not been allocated. The very first thing you need to do basically is that your reaction to situations sometimes determine how fast the real estate developer will take you serious. Now, when I say when I say your reaction, I'm talking about the way you respond to the issues. Now, there have been several instances whereby the developer, if you take it easy, some people say it's always advisable to handle some issues with diplomacy. Yes, sometimes it is, but in most cases, more importantly, in a situation whereby you have paid. Now, what most people don't understand is that when there is a delay in allocation, two things are always a factor that you should put into consideration. The very first thing is that the developer has oversold. Okay, that could be the first instance, and at that point there is no land to give you. This has happened several times in this industry. So the developer has oversold, there is no property to give you. So it doesn't matter the grammar you want to talk, in as much as fact that there is no land to give you, there's no land to give you. That's the first one. Now, the second instance whereby there may not be allocation is maybe when the obviously number two, when there is a dispute on that said property. When we talk about dispute, I've said it several times that when you're buying real estate, don't just buy real estate because you are persuaded to do so. When you're buying real estate, you're not just buying land, you are buying the brand. And it is not all brands that have conflict management skills. Now, there have been instances whereby Omonile and developers have had disagreements, and such disagreements have been treated and of course resolved amicably. And there's some set of disagreement that will happen between real estate and the Omoniles that the developer may have to involve the law enforcement agents. There are some other real estate disagreements that may happen between the developer and the Omonile, where the developer have to show those Omonile that I am not of the same class. I have the connections and I have the required things to deal with you when you want to cheat me after I've bought a property from you. So those are the kind of disagreements that may happen. And when this thing happened repeatedly, your life is at, is very important. So it is someone that is, hale and healthy, that does not have any injury, that may think of having allocation. So in most cases, when a developer fails, okay, to handle that conflict, because the truth of the matter is, whether it is reported or not, in most cases there is always conflict on site. I've witnessed not not once, not two, I've witnessed several. So if it is in a case of conflict, Omonele is disturbing the developer, and the developer does not seem to have a solution to that problem, what you should do basically is that you need to be patient. So before you decide on what to do, you need, okay, to investigate and find out what could be the two causes of that delayed allocation. So if it's a case of the developer has oversold, you have every right, you have every reason to employ all the powers, all the tools in your arsenals, okay, to make sure that you get what you have paid for. But in some cases, okay, where the developer is experiencing crisis and conflict from Omonile, it is very important that you find a way to get talking with the developer and let them give you what they've done and what they intend to do to solve that situation. Now, in most cases, many people don't like to hear this, but that's just the truth. Whenever we have cases of developers and Omonile, I've seen some crises, okay, that have lingered for 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 years. I know some a land dispute that is still ongoing. This is the seventh year, and they are still going to court. So in cases where that is what is happening, and that is what is causing, okay, that delayed allocation, what you need to do as a real estate investor is that if you cannot wait, if you are not patient enough to wait, let that developer reallocate you. So in most cases they will tell you. Now the thing is, most of them don't complain, okay. Most of them, because of the fact that they're trying to protect their brand, they don't want you to see them as weak, or they have, the tact and, the capability to manage crisis. Some of them, okay, may hide it from you, but in most cases, when we have this delayed allocation, that has always been the case. So in that situation, when the developer offers you an alternative properties for them to reallocate you, don't say it's that land you want. Amicably and joyfully take that property and move on. Okay, move on. Now, in some cases, I've seen instances whereby the real estate developer will tell you that the property you bought, let's say the said property that you bought that had issues was like 5 million, and the one they are planning to reallocate you is 10 million. I've seen instances whereby they will say you have to make more money, pay more money, or something equivalent to the present one they want to move you to. Now, when you are facing situations like that and you don't want to pay, there is a way you can sit down with the real estate developer. And of course, let me also highlight that your realtor or your real estate investor consultant, must play an active role. Now, when we have the case of delayed allocation, okay, your realtor will play a very, very vital role. In fact, the role of your realtor will determine if you are going to get allocated on time or if there will be a delay allocation. And what do I mean by that? There have been instances whereby some real estate agents have sold properties to a lot of investors, and when there are situations where their attention is needed, they are nowhere to be found. In fact, there have been instances whereby I've come on behalf of several clients and I've helped them to resolve this, and it was like, wow, you are a very good person. I think I want to work with you after these instances. Now, I'm not saying that I'll be available to all delayed allocations, please, but I'm saying that there have been instances whereby I've helped a whole lot of people and we've resolved it and they've gotten their land and everybody's happy. Now, if your realtor does not play an active role in this situation, and God help you are not even in the country, resolving that case of delayed allocation will be almost impossible. Okay, so but in a situation where your realtor is not around, what you need to do basically is get somebody that can represent you, get somebody that will constantly meet with the real estate developer as they prefer solution, or as a preferred solution to that. Okay, that is when the developer is cooperating and is taking your calls and is keeping you aware of all the steps and what they are doing to resolve the issues of delayed allocation. What about a situation whereby after you have bought, you are not even sure if there is a crisis on that land, okay, or the developer has oversold and they are not responding to your calls, they are not responding to your emails, some of them will even block you. So in a situation like this, what we should remember, at the commencement of this video, I said, okay, what your response to the issue of delayed allocation sometimes determine how quick, how rapid that situation will be adequately attended to. Now, in a situation where the developer is not responding, the very first thing you want to do is that you want to show that developer that you are not going to take it easy. Now, it is not all cases of delayed allocations that are resolved with diplomacy. I'm not encouraging violence. I'm not saying you should go violent, but the ones I've seen, let's say 80% of the ones that have been solved were never solved with diplomacy, because a whole lot of people are headstrong in Nigeria, and if you show them that you are a weak person, hey, I pity you, well, you won't get your land. So when the developer is not responding, the very first person you want to do is that you want to get your realtor, okay, to let them know what you stand for, and you want to get your realtor to let them know this is what you are going to do. In most cases, work with a deadline. Number one, get your realtor involved. Let your realtor know, convey to them your stand on this matter. Then number two, give them a deadline that from this also date to this also date, if I don't get the property I've paid for. Now this is when the developer is not responding to your calls, your messages, and your emails. Or sometimes they may be responding and they may be calling kettle pots for you, or they may be calling white, black. Hey, it happens. They talk about the game of deceit is very, very real estate. So you want to, number one, get your realtor involved. In situation when your realtor is not available, get somebody that can represent you. It doesn't necessarily have to be your realtor. Get somebody that can represent you. Let them know your stand. Then number two, give them deadline. Now, in cases whereby they are still not responding to, you want to get a lawyer that will write to them and tell them what you are going to do. See, if you take things easy, in some cases, you won't get the properties you've paid for. You won't. And this happens. This has happened. A lot of people have been cheated. A lot of people have been robbed. And a lot of people, there are some people that are kind-hearted, and of course they can say, well, and the land is just 1.5. I can move beyond. And there are some people that say that 1.5 is my sweat. I won't just let it go like that. So those are the three things you will do for a start. Okay. But I'll continue this episode in order. Of course, I'm going to have a series 2 on this. So this is where I'm going to draw the curtain of today's episode of Property Matters. I'm going to continue this video in episode 2, where I'll be explaining extensively what your realtor should do, the kind of deadline you should give, what your legal representative should be doing, how you have to use force, how you have to use pressure, and how you have to, these are some of the things. And of course, I will be explaining in details in my subsequent videos. So if you found this video very, very educative and informative, please give us a thumb like, okay, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you. God bless you. Bye for now.